We are live again. What's up, my brother?
What's up, Philly Phil?
How are you, Mr. Todd?
Doing great. Doing great.
I just want to tell everybody that we're 8 minutes late because of you, because you were late.
I don't think so, pal.
See, there he goes, starting again. I'm always prepared.
Sometimes I come out of the gate, man. Call it like it is. Good evening to you.
What's that?
Welcome back, Late Night of Green interview edition. We're here early to do an interview. We've got a great interview tonight, and you guys are going to learn something, right?
That's right.
Tonight we're going to learn something.
Ears wide open.
Wide open. So before we get started, how are you?
Man, listen, it's a great day. The sun finally came out
at the very end,
later in the day. So
yeah,
I felt good.
It's been ugly for a few days.
Yeah, man, not good. But, you know, the sun will come out tomorrow.
Right on. Well, so if everyone doesn't know, this is going to be your last show for a couple of weeks because you're going out of town for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, man, got to chill for a minute. You know, take a little time off. You know,
yeah, right.
Got to walk the dog. You know
right. Walk the dog. You the dog.
Well, you know, I'm gonna wag my tail too.
You're gonna get walked. That's what's gonna happen.
Well, you know, side by side.
So anyway, yeah, Mr. Todd's gonna be. So we're gonna have some guest hosting over the next couple of weeks. We got some interviews lined up. We got a good one tonight, and we also doing a late night show. So stay tuned afterwards. We're gonna be here. We got some good stuff to go over tonight. But for now, I am excited to introduce our guest this evening.
A good guest he is.
A good guest he is. And so let's talk about, we're going to figure that out, right, Barry?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right? So let's talk about how we met. We met not that long ago at Atlantic City.
In the Claridge.
At the Claridge.
We
were kind of right across from each other, actually. Yeah. And we were setting up our respective booths.
The connection happened very quickly.
Very quickly. And so not only that, but what was going on in the activities between what was happening in our booth and their booth, it was kind of like I think we had the most popping corner of the room.
Absolutely.
No doubt. I like how he cornered the good spot.
Well,
As soon as you walk in, bam.
We took that over quick.
Okay. Yeah, and I would have taken that spot, but we thought we were we thought we were going to broadcast, so I needed to kind of be tucked in the corner. And
right.
You know, and at the end of the day, I'm kind of glad we didn't broadcast because we were competing with Easter. It was
yeah.
So anyway, we'll talk about that. But we met not that long ago. We hit it off. We're happy to have him. Let me introduce to you guys Barry Greenberg. Welcome to the show, brother.
Well, thanks for having me.
I'm
excited here. Yeah, this is fun.
Barry is from the Greener Institute, and we are going to learn all about that this evening as we learn about Barry and his endeavors and how he got here.
Look, green is my scene.
Nothing better than green.
That's it.
Right?
Except there is something better. Greener.
Greener.
I have now. There is a greenest, but I have that covered, so you can't get there either.
You can't get there either.
No, I'm
the greener and the greenest. He's got it covered.
Got it covered.
So you might like it, but you're not there yet.
We'll get there.
Yet. So Barry, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. So let's start with knowing who you are. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Northeast Philadelphia.
Northeast Philly.
Welston Boulevard.
There we go. There we go. Yeah.
That's about it.
Philly in the house.
Philly in the house, yeah. So
so you grew up in Northeast Philly, went to school.
I went to Lincoln, man.
All right, Lincoln.
Yeah.
And then after high school, you
went to Temple.
Temple, baby. Come on now.
You're a classic, man.
Temple, baby.
You're a classic.
I don't have a Temple sound.
Northeast.
No.
Temple.
Yeah.
All right. You're doing the damn thing.
He's an owl, so he's an owl.
Yeah, owl, baby.
Yeah, so we're both owls as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so man, we're sitting a table full of owls.
That's it.
Yeah. Says something, doesn't it?
Man, owls they are succeeders. You know what I mean? We do the damn thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Amen. So what did you major in? Well,
I started in pre-dentistry.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't happen for me. You know, the science is just wasn't happening.
It just wasn't for you?
No. So then I figured, what else am I going to do? And I wanted to do something in the healthcare type thing, but then I was thinking about psychology and no money there. So then I'm thinking, well, I'll try this marketing class try a little business, right? And I take the class, and I'm like, that's the psychology of how people buy. There's nothing better than that.
Right? Makes the world go around.
Yeah.
Right,
So that was my thing. So
There you go.
I'm a marketing
So
major.
it didn't take long. You dialed out of one spot and into another,
Yeah.
but you felt at home when you did that.
Oh, my God.
So is there a dentist in the family?
No.
What made you
my
want to?
Jewish parents, they were like,
There you go.
come on.
That'll do it.
Right?
That'll do it.
They were like,
So were they disappointed when you?
well, of course,
Wait.
but they got over it. Actually, it didn't. It took them a while because then I started my own business right out of school.
All right.
So they were uncomfortable with that, especially a business that was no business because I started in video production in 1980. What were you doing in 1980?
Well, I was in school.
Yeah, so you're not even. So
Yeah, I was in
1980,
high school.
You were in high school. So that's
In
when
80, you were already graduated college, no?
No, stop that, man. Stop it. Stop it. I'm not that old boy, you know.
So, okay, come on. So tell us about this business.
Yeah, so I worked at RCA in Camden. Remember that?
Yep.
RCA.
Yeah, RCA.
We used to make stuff here.
Wow.
And I was on a co-op, so I got to see a lot of things going on. And they were making video cameras, but they were making the ones that were like 50 grand, for the studios. And they just introduced an industrial version, which was only like 10 grand.
Right.
And they let me use my salary to buy it. So I'm like, I want that camera, I'm like, this is a great opportunity, recording stuff.
Right.
Well, guess what? It didn't stop at the camera. Then you had to buy the side piece that you put the tape into.
Yeah.
So I had to wait another 3 months to afford that. But anyway, I got it all together, and then I
From
called-
RCA?
yeah,
And did you get the employee discount?
of course.
There you go.
Yeah, I think I'm still paying it off, so I don't know.
So wait a minute. Wait, that the 5-finger discount or?
Well, no.
okay.
Yeah, that's just that's the friends and family
Yeah.
pricing, man. Come on now.
The co-op. So anyway, the first thing I did, I called some family members and said, "Hey, can I come out and record your event?" What do you mean? Yeah, I want to videotape it. Where do I play it? I'm like, in a VCR. Well, when am I going to get one of those? I'm like, well,
Such modern technology.
your wedding's
man.
going to be over, and then you can always buy a VCR. You'll have okay, is it in color? Does it have sound? This is what we're dealing with in 1980, right?
Yeah.
And
right.
that was the launch of my video production company.
So back in the day, it was like you were either like VHS or Betamax,
Yeah.
right?
Well, Beta got kicked out because of the time limit. It only had an hour.
Well, I remember, the people had the Beta, thought they were cool and
Yeah.
everything. I got
Oh, yeah.
Beta and all that.
Right.
Then they shit went out a bit,
Well, the
Their
funny
shit
thing
went
is,
But they were cool while they had it.
it was cool while they had it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
while they had it.
But
And
Beta
the tape was half the size.
Yep, it was small.
but Beta was better
It was better quality.
because it ran faster. So
Right.
it was high, but it didn't matter. People wanted the time. They wanted 2 hours.
They didn't
For
care
movies.
about. They didn't care about the frames per second.
They didn't give
Yeah,
a shit.
yeah.
So-
Yeah.
But anyway, VHS, and then 3/4 inch, and then we
And
had,
what kind of content were you seeking to make when you were working on buying these cameras?
I was just looking to record events, and sell them to people. You
Okay.
know, just like a photographer.
Okay, or videographer,
Well,
early stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they hated me at the parties. You have to understand.
Why?
Because you were into video back in the day.
Yeah.
How much light did you need to have a decent image?
Yeah.
So here comes Barry with 2,000 watts. Boom. They spent $100 grand decorating this place. Low light. Barry goes, boom. The light. Now you're in a football field.
You was
Okay.
bringing the
The
party.
decorator used to run and
They'd be
scream
upset
at
with
me.
you, yeah.
What? Upset.
Yeah, because you used to fuck the ambiance up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
of course.
Yeah.
And I felt bad about it. The funny thing is, I always shot into the band because that was a nice background. And after a few times, they got to know who I was and what I'm doing.
Right.
And one time I come, I set up, I'm ready, I turn my lights on. Every band member has these dark glasses on.
Those they knew.
Sunglasses.
Yeah, they said Barry's coming.
We're not,
We're putting these.
we're not putting up with it.
We're putting these dark glasses on.
So we had to struggle through that. A couple of years later, they came out with a Nuvicon tube. It started with a Vidicon tube, then it went to a Nuvicon.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of bar mitzvahs. So they have a candle, the cake where they light the 13
Sure.
candles. Well, you shoot it and you move over here. There's 13 candles over here and over here. It stayed in the picture for like 3 minutes.
Right.
People were buying this stuff.
Wow.
That's all there was.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
Wow.
But that was the beginning. So anyway,
So that was the beginning.
Yeah.
That was after college.
yeah,
And then where did that take you?
that took me, it was 15 events a weekend, crazy editing. People would call me up and scream at me, "Where's my tape?" I have like 50 on the shelf to edit, because you're doing 10, 12 parties in a weekend over 3 months in season. Dude,
Wow.
how much equipment do you need? So
Yeah, that's high volume.
It was a tough, actually,
Right.
that was a problem. But
Right.
So anyway, got through that.
Hang on
Yeah.
hang on 1 second. Hey, control room, can you lower the volume on that music for me? All right, because I was hearing it a second ago. Thank you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I forget what I was talking about.
We were talking about. We were talking.
Something about a camera.
Yeah, I sound like you were pre-gaming.
Okay.
Well, I just had the music in my ear, so I was trying to get him to turn it down without me having to say something. But I had to say something just so the music would, because I'm kind of hearing that music, the low-level music in my ear.
Yeah.
And then finally, when I got that cleared, I was ready to go back to Barry. And I
So he was talking about
The
got
video-
done shooting
Yeah.
bar
Yeah.
mitzvahs.
so
and
you
bat
did it for how
mitzvahs.
long? How long did you do this for?
30 years.
Oh shit! Okay.
Wow, that's real.
Oh shit!
Well, 20 of it was on, then we moved into digital, right? So we went from analog to digital DVD.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. So
Made life easier.
I was done with the events and the parties. So I've said, all this analog stuff sitting around, photos, slides, movie film, it's got to be transferred. Someone's going to do that because otherwise it's going to get
just sitting there.
destroyed. So I came up with a system to convert analog to digital, and then I sold that as a business opportunity franchise type thing. And I did that
nice.
for 10 years. So that was so I wasn't in the wellness back then.
I didn't know this about your background.
Yeah.
So this is great because I learn. Everybody's learning at the same time.
Well, I have a question now. So you remember the little recorders back in the day with the MIDI cassettes?
Yeah.
Right? And then you had to put it in the big cassette. So you
That's
play your
VHSC. That's
Yeah.
what that was called.
Well,
yeah, we did
I have
lot
a couple of those that I need to get on digital. Can you do that?
Absolutely, we'll help you with
All
that.
right, we'll talk about that
Yeah,
later.
that's not a problem.
try to do business here. On
Man, I got some nostalgic stuff that needs to
Yeah.
be shown.
all right.
I got some stories about that too, but we can't do it on air. But yeah.
So your entry into the cannabis space kind of came after all of this was over, or
Yeah.
is the video thing still happening?
So
Or?
it's happening, but I'm burned out. I want to move on.
Yep.
And it's a weird thing. My son used to smoke like a chimney, and I'm allergic to tobacco,
Okay.
smoke. So he tried everything, And one day I'm sitting in a restaurant, and this guy, a friend of mine, is starting to suck on this. I thought it was a cigarette, but it was not a cigarette. It was a vape. Remember back in the day, it looked like a cigarette. And I'm like, "Don't smoke in here." He's like, "No, this is the beginning of it, right?"
Right.
I'm like, "Wow." I said, "That's cool. Let me have one of those. I want to give it to my son."
Right.
Gave it to my son. He stopped smoking. I'm like,
Wow.
Nothing would work. This worked. I'm like, this is cool. There's something to this.
Well, wellness.
Yes.
Yep.
There you go. I can
Wellness,
help
good
people stop smoking.
It's helped a lot of people stop smoking.
Yeah, it's really a good, but they talk about it, popcorn lung. You got some popcorn lung?
Yeah, I've heard
Please.
that. I guess that's abuse right there.
Listen,
It doesn't happen.
I ain't got no
Popcorn lung
popcorn
came
lung.
in a popcorn factory where there was all these chemicals in their face. Right? When you're smoking a vape, it's nothing near the amount of that.
Right.
So
You
they
have to
just
be-
used it.
Some serious vaping to get to do that.
no,
Yeah.
but-
I got no
let's-
fucking popcorn lung.
Yeah.
How about the tobacco industry? You think they're happy about the vape industry?
Listen, the tobacco industry is doing their best to try to find their way into the cannabis space
Well,
right now. I mean, that's their
I know.
goal. I mean, that's their
Sucks.
means of survival.
I know.
And I think we need to fight that at every.
Absolutely.
We can't have that.
Yeah, too much big business.
So tell us about the transition. Like when? So you were kind of telling us the
Yeah.
transition.
So then I opened a vape shop.
Ah, that's
Okay.
how. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's called the Juice Spot.
right.
We used to make our own juice. You remember back? You're allowed to do that.
Yes.
And we had all kinds of flavors.
You can't do that anymore?
No.
You can't make your own juice?
No. So that's why you have these sealed units now, like that. You know, where, yeah, they don't want you to be playing with the liquids.
Yeah.
So they just want to trust the Chinese instead?
Well, think about it. You know,
Sure,
earlier in the
exactly.
day, there was
It's
a lot
ridiculous.
of low-quality vapes out there.
Well, we got-
you know.
Hey, well, listen, you got to trust the Chinese, brother. When are you gonna,
Yeah, I know.
When are you going to start trusting them, huh? Shit. So,
But the interesting part was, so I was, you know, building that, and that was the beginning of the vape thing, and it went pretty well. And then this woman comes to me and says, I got this product. Oh, my God, you won't believe it. I'm like, what is it? It's called CBD. CBD. I'm like, what is that? Boom. So now I'm into CBD. This is when it was illegal.
So this is
CBD
before
was illegal.
This is before the Farm Bill or after the Farm Bill?
Way before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'm in my shop, and I'm like a scientist. You know, I'm putting stuff together. I'm like, I can add some CBD to this vape, and they're, I was selling it to people, and oh my God, they were sleeping at night. They were relaxed. They were, it was a great,
It was a good venture.
Great.
The medicine man.
yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, we did a lot of testing. And then, as you know, it became the thing. Everybody was carrying CBD. I'm getting locked up. But 2 months later, the beauty shops have CBD in them. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
that's the way.
So did you have law issues?
Well, they threatened me, but they wanted to make an example. So
Sure.
but we got through that, and then that's when PA's like, "Oh, we're going to go legal in medical marijuana." I'm like, "Ooh, that's good."
Good sign.
I like that. And
Right.
someone introduced me to the bit, how the government was the state was going to set up the medical cards.
Sure.
So he showed me that whole thing, and I went, yeah, people need to have these to get the weed, so someone's got to do it. And it's funny, but it went beyond that, because when I looked at the whole business, I saw that there's a missing link. This is how crazy our laws are, right? So you can go to this doctor, and he can make sure you're qualified to have marijuana. That's it. He's not allowed to tell you about it or suggest anything or give you a script for something. So you go, and you're qualified. Yeah, good, you have a card. Then you walk into a dispensary to buy something.
And you don't know what to get.
No, and you're dealing with these bud tenders. Don't get me wrong. Some of them
Some-
are,
and some
you know,
aren't.
and
Some
some
aren't.
are just saying, this is what I take.
Right.
I walked in because I'm a caregiver.
I've seen
for
the whole
state.
gamut.
Yeah. So I'll talk to you about more how the caregiver thing works. But I'm a caregiver, so I went in with a patient to the dispensary, see how they're treating them. They're giving him like sativa when he should have indica. You know what I'm saying? Like they had no clue. So of course I stepped in and told him what he needed.
Sure.
So the missing link is people, especially older people, they don't know. And I have a card. What do I buy? How much of it? How do I dose it?
But you would I guess at some point in the early stage you would go with them
Yes.
to the
I
dispensary.
still do.
That's a program. They're caregivers, and
Yeah. So there's a
for the
state,
medical card.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm a caregiver, and
You would never get this, by the way. You
Hey,
ain't
I'd
giving.
be a good caregiver.
I don't think so. I don't
But
think so.
being a medical card holder myself, I've been many dispensaries, and it is true. You see a lot of older people come in.
Yeah.
You can tell they're not your regular smokers. They're there
Right.
for medicinal reasons.
Yeah.
They're aching, they're hurting,
They're hurting.
and they're asking. It's funny when you go. They're asking a lot of questions, and this where Fortunately, there's a lot of good bartenders, but there's some that are not.
Yeah.
And
it gets
they
busy.
need to
They
know.
have to keep
Hey,
going.
I got this really good idea. So do you know how you can sign up to do a police ride along? you know that's a thing. So you can sign up with a police department to do a ride along. So if you
didn't
want,
know that.
and then you can get to go with them and you see what they do. I'm thinking, what if you did a ride along, and then you and Todd could go on a ride along for the caregiving stuff? Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, learn about caregiving.
I'm glad you guys are all very excited for this. Ride-along program. Think about it, Barry. I don't know. I think
talking about that,
I'm on to something.
I just want people watching to know.
Said you're on something.
I want the viewers to know a medical card is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. A medical marijuana card is actually get in jail. You never want to show that card to anybody, especially the police, okay? Because once you do, they know you have THC in your blood. You don't have to be high when you're getting
That's right.
And then they'll test you, and you get a DUI.
Right.
You can get a DUI for
Big
weed
time.
for weed you smoked 20 days ago.
Exactly. So the state never switched it.
That's a problem.
And it's a huge problem. So just be, mindful.
And that's still a gray area in a lot of places, how they determine.
It helps with
that's a wild
Well, Philly's decriminalized, so it's a fine. You can smoke. And,
listen, on tonight's Late Show, we're going to talk about PA legislation.
that's another one.
And I think Barry's going to join us on the Late Show. So
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about PA, and then even next week, guys, we've got stuff scheduled. Emily Kincaid and Abby Major to talk to us about their bill. Tonight we're going to talk about the bill that didn't go through and why and some of those things. But you're 100% right. It's a slippery slope. It's really a slippery slope. Tell us more. Tell us more. And it needs to be legislated out. Is what it needs
that's
to.
the police, and then you have your,
And Pennsylvania,
your boss.
and listen, Pennsylvania State Police, by the way, they're on the record saying they want this through. They don't want to make these arrests.
I know.
They made 11,000 cannabis arrests.
Yeah,
last
it's
year.
a nuisance item.
Yes.
It's a nuisance item for them.
It would make their job.
It's money.
Yeah.
It's
That's
money.
true. It's about
It's
writing
money, but
Yeah.
they're not getting the money. So the cops themselves, they're like, we don't want to deal
I
with
know.
this. It's
I
it's
agree.
every 2 seconds.
Right.
Right.
But I was going to say the next one is your boss, the company you work for. Right away, if you don't know what HIPAA laws are, you're going to just tell them what they want to hear. So when they say, "Oh, medical marijuana," or do you take anything?
You don't have
You
to
can't.
answer.
You don't answer that.
Right.
It's like any other drug.
Do you have a heart ailment? Like, can they ask you? You can't.
What
ask.
they ask all the time.
Well, you're not.
But you don't have to answer, and that's illegal to ask.
Right.
And once
But-
you say it's a HIPAA violation, they'll look at you and go, "He knows his shit."
Yeah,
and
but
they shut up
maybe,
after
yeah.
that.
Yeah, they know
Okay?
their shit, but you might also get searched at that point.
Well, you know what they're doing? They're sending these letters to my doctors that says, sign this so we can sign off on this. The doctor's supposed to say, "Oh, he's okay taking these."
Who's
this
asking
medicine."
for the sign off?
The company. So they send this letter to the doctor to say, sign off on this patient. You know he's good at work even when he's high. Like, first of all, the doctor doesn't even know what you're buying.
Right.
You know?
Right. He's going to sign off on that.
And the nerve of them just to even ask a doctor to sign something that's so, it gives the doctor has a lot of liability if he's.
Right.
I mean, he got to be crazy to sign it. So they don't sign it. And then what happens? Sometimes they won't. That's their way of getting rid of people without discriminating. You follow me?
Right.
And they have it down. So some companies are very non-friendly, and some are friendly.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways to work around not asking the illegal questions, because sometimes you just start talking, and for instance, you're not allowed to ask anybody to have kids or anything.
Right.
Well, if you just generally start talking about your kids sometime, and they start talking about theirs. So people are sneaky. There's ways to draw information out.
That's right,
There always
education.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't ask somebody like how old they are during an interview, but you can ask for their driver's license. Like,
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
you get the information. It's like, yeah.
And it's a shame because these people, need the job, and because and it's 100% legal. So but they can. You're allowed to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Have a fifth of vodka before you go to work. Nobody's touching you on that.
So these were
Ridiculous.
all motivations as to why the Greener Institute was born. Correct.
Right. That missing
These were your motivations in doing it. Correct.
The education.
So
Correct.
tell us when did you start it, and what did the early days look like, and let's progress through that.
Interesting. The early days was there was only a few conditions on the bill. Like you had to really have a lot of stuff going on to get a card.
Mm-hmm.
So we.
You mean
wrote
the
that-
condition list was very minimal?
Yeah.
And what were what were the early days?
I don't know, MS,
serious.
cancer,
Yeah.
disease
Hard to
type
get
things.
going.
Shit most of us don't have.
Yeah. So that went on for maybe a year, and then they updated the thing, and this is when all hell broke loose. They put anxiety on the list.
that opened the floodgates.
Absolutely.
That's like my knee
Who
hurts.
doesn't have anxiety? Okay. So that made me realize the game was on, and I put these billboards up throughout the city.
Mm-hmm.
They said, "Got anxiety? Call the Greener Institute."
We've seen these.
Yeah. So
We've
that really helped the business, especially in this area. But you had to go into an office back in the day before COVID. So I had 2 offices. So it wasn't bad, but COVID happened. Been Betty good to me. What can I tell you? They turned it into a virtual call. You didn't have to be in the office. Well,
Fabulous. Huh?
within a couple of days, I'm from 2 offices to the whole state of Pennsylvania.
Wow.
How great is
With
that?
the same overhead. The doctors are still the same doctors, and I couldn't do billboards because it would cost me a fortune to do that throughout the whole state. So then I went to Google Ads, and just hit it hard. And,
So during COVID, it exploded.
yeah. Yeah, I don't. To me, COVID
a
was
good
like.
So
story.
let's talk about
That's a good story.
So
Sure.
let's talk about the services you provide at the Greener Institute. So what is it that one can expect by going there? Why would one go there? What could one expect?
Right.
Give us some information.
So we have something called Express Care, okay? And because we're caregivers, and I wrote the book on how to become, and be educated as a caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
So I've taught a lot of people, and they're all over the state. So when you become a patient of ours, we become your caregiver. Okay, so another thing people don't know about is you can get your medicine the day after you see the doctor. You don't even have to wait for your card, because we take over as the caregiver. It's in the system already. You don't need a card. We don't need a card. We have our own.
Gotcha.
So we can go in, buy your medicine, and give it to you 2 days after you see the doctor.
Wow.
Okay, which is.
That's amazing. That's good.
And the last one
So
is.
do you guys have a deal with just one dispensary, or do you go to all of them?
We go to all of them.
All of them.
Yeah, they're pretty independent. They're not going.
Well, I would just figure they'd be knocking your door down to try to get a sweetheart. Some.
You think?
You would think.
But they
don't.
They do their thing, man.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
That's another sign of just a completely early stage industry. Because if the industry was more developed, think about the lead machine.
Yeah, that's
lead
opportunity.
machine. It's a lead
Well,
machine.
It's funny because we're in New Jersey too, and it's so different. It's not some corporate.
It's communist,
but
right?
Mostly mom and pop, really. So you walk into the store, and the owner is behind the counter.
Yeah.
It's very cool. You walk up, you talk. You
Yeah.
can't do that in PA.
No.
Go to the management all the way up to the top, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not interested.
Right.
What are you wasting our time for?"
Yeah, they're the greatest.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting how every state, our state, got taken over, and they're all going to probably go that way. But right now, New Jersey's, it's good, but it's expensive. They don't have product yet, a lot of product.
Well, the product's expensive, but what's going on with the medical? Is it still? So what happens to a state that has medical that goes recreational? Does the medicinal cards drop off significantly?
I'm going to need a place to live. Are you going to be able to hook me up?
You can
Because
stay-
I'm done,
You
man.
can stay at the
Yeah,
Croft
you know,
Country
Can
Store,
I?
you know? Yeah.
All right, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's on camera. You said it. so-
Yeah, hey, Mark.
Well, that's an interesting,
I said it, I said
interesting
it, I said
subject.
it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because that was the big thing, Jersey and Pennsylvania. So the cost of the cars and the doctor's fees coming down.
Well,
Yeah.
they're down.
They're
Believe
down.
me. They're very down.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be able to get different level of weed on the medicinal program in the states where you've got, because and listen, I don't know how it is in in New Jersey when it comes to both. But a lot of these other states have like one side of the store is medicinal and this side of the store is.
Well, I could speak about one. I'm not going to name the company, but it's a company in Jersey. You know, first they're medical, and then they became recreational. So to delineate, so now the people have cards like, hey, what am I paying for this card for? What is the benefit?
That. So
right?
Here's the benefit.
So, but one of the things they were doing, the one advantage they were doing is have the special hours, giving them, hey, you can come in and things like that. Little small.
It even happened to me. I was at a Jersey dispensary with my son, and the place was packed, and I'm sitting there waiting and waiting, and this guy walks in after me, and then all of a sudden my time comes up, and he goes walking in. I'm like, wait a minute, I think I'm next. He had a medical card. Let me tell you something, that has value. You go right in. You don't wait. The other thing is, yeah, you might have, it depends on the state if they decide to limit the higher,
the quality
of it, yeah, the milligrams. So
it's like a no wait pass, a great adventure.
Yeah, well, they have to do something to distinguish you paying that fee every year.
How about better weed?
How
about that for a distinction?
Well, but then recreational one good stuff too.
Yeah. Now they definitely, when it comes to buying it recreational, the taxes is the biggest thing in terms of what you save. So if you're a regular buyer,
right,
you're going to pay for the card and the state fee.
So the taxes are different.
$100, say. So at $100, you're paying like 20% more in tax
on rec.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Oh,
No,
so the
there's no tax on
recreational
medical.
is more than medicinal?
There is no tax on medicinal. There's no sales tax on medicinal.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Sales tax.
Okay, so
So there's
still
20%.
But you're
Right.
still paying the other tax.
So it's worth it getting it, So,
So
that's
that's-
value with the card.
So
The card has value.
Yeah, so most people that are regulars, they'll keep their card because
Yeah.
they don't want to get out of line. And then you have everybody else. So the new card business is not on the horizon. Getting new people with new cards,
Right.
Unless they're very sick and they are going to continue to use it all the time.
So recreational. So if I got this right, recreational kills medicinal in a state.
Yeah, and the sad part of that, it kills the education too, because it just goes to rec and everything's just like,
Just
"What are you
say,
bothering me for
get
it?"
what you want.
But
Yeah.
buy something. Now there is no even
Well,
though
it's
medical's still not
No
great.
need for
Well, it's
education
kinda-
there.
yeah, you're-
Nobody's talking about, oh, you have arthritis or you have seizures, or
Yeah.
what's going to help.
They're
you?
just
No.
talking percentages.
You're just
now.
creating a,
Yeah, exactly.
You're creating the commodity out of the medicine, is what you're doing, kinda, in a way.
Yeah, so it's always going to be there. And we have a lot of things planned to help educate people in different settings. Right now, we did some retreats for a while before COVID, had people come into these great Airbnbs, stay over for the weekend, had all kinds of, educational programs, massage, meditation, and then we had a chef come in and he cooked the whole time and infused everything. Okay, it was really nice.
Yeah,
And
sounds good.
And that's where this now we're getting into experiences. Now we're talking about the experience side
Yes,
of it, right?
That's where we're.
All right,
learning.
so hang on to that thought.
Yeah.
At control room, let's cue up a commercial.
Yeah.
We're going to run a commercial. When we get back from commercial, we're going to talk about Barry's new projects because it didn't stop with the Greener Institute, did it?
No.
Yeah. So we'll be back right after this.
So many dispensaries have resorted to a bland, impersonal shopping experience, where you often don't even get to see a sample of the cannabis you're planning on purchasing before you buy it. If you're looking for that extra personal touch, come check out High Roller Dispensary in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Our staff are avid cannabis connoisseurs who are sure to help you find the strains that fit you best. Whether you're looking for premium flower, edibles, concentrates, or tinctures, we have you covered with over 100 different strains to choose from, all of which are able to be seen, smelled, and thoroughly examined in our elegant showroom. If you're in a rush, we offer a seamless online ordering system that allows for in-depth exploration of all that we have to offer. So whether you're a novice or a seasoned stoner, Be sure to stop by High Roller Dispensary and we'll make sure you're floating on Cloud 9 by the time you leave.
Marijuana is huge.
Hey, I'm OG Ganja Goddess, and you're watching Cough Country TV. Peace.
This is Chef Marvin Jane, and you're watching Cough Country TV, live from New York.
Right around here, 15 inches, maybe if you're younger, you go up to 19 inches, you know? Yeah, you know, you already went the bigger.
Sometimes a CIO might make commitments to a CEO that they just can't fulfill. And it's very hard to succeed in those environments. You really want to be able to set the expectation right up front.
How would you feel with no sex, no weed for a month or two? I'm going to be really angry.
I feel sorry for Jake.
Yeah, Jake's going to get fucked up.
Wow, this is
Phil. Yeah, for
this is all you. This is the Cough Country OG pink hoodie.
In terms of marijuana, I think it should happen.
All right, We're back. I'm dealing with low battery, and hopefully we can get this plugged in.
But you need a charge, baby?
I do, man. I might need you got a USB thing over there, a USB square?
I do not.
Hey, control room, if you guys can send a USB square out with that cord, I need a USB square with that too.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
You ask.
Hey, switch the camera. Hey, hold on a second. Switch the camera to me on the side. All right. Yeah.
The power of wanting and getting immediately.
Well, unfortunately, I need this to work because... Nope, I'm good. I'm good. This is the wrong one. I just need the other plug that's out there. I'm sorry.
That's USB.
Yeah, and
You need a lightning wire?
I'm sorry, guys. I need a regular brick and not a...
Man, I had time to hit the dab lab, man.
Yeah. All right, we'll work through this. The mics are open at least. At least I had enough battery to get these open, right?
As long as we can talk.
Yeah, so we'll be all right. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, Barry.
It's all right.
This is live. It's live. It's live. Sometimes we have a problem with live. Okay, so we were at the point where Barry was talking about the Greener Institute. We were talking about the extensive things that you've done. Switch the camera over to me on this side again, if you could, control room. Yeah, just give it a second here. Yeah, here we go. All right. Do you guys have a brick for this?
I handed you a brick.
But that brick doesn't take this end. Sorry, guys. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, and what we were talking about is all the things that he did with the Greener Institute, and then things continue to further evolve. So as the industry changes, Barry changes, and tell us what type of changes. I mean, obviously you saw the writing on the wall, and you decided to do something about it. So what was the iteration? How did you move forward like that?
Yeah, so just knowing that Rec's going to be here at some point. It's not.
Yeah,
It's amazing it's not here yet, but So just knowing that in advance it gives you the impetus to what's the next trend. And so we started looking at hemp-infused beverages. And it's a really nice product because, I don't know, have you guys ever experienced just drinking it and getting high from that?
Yeah, I mean,
I just had one this past weekend.
So when you say drinking, are you referring to specifically hemp-related THC or drinks in general?
Hemp. Just hemp.
I have not just had a hemp. I've tasted it, but I have not had multiples. Or
in my mind, it normalizes the way cannabis is being looked at, because when we're both next to each other in a bar and drinking, you could have your vodka, and I'm drinking my mocktail with hemp infused. Nobody's looking at each other going, he's a drug addict, or he.
True.
Now, if I had a joint and I'm going, hey, what's going on? I'm a drug addict.
Yeah, everybody's looking at you.
No, you're right. Perception's reality.
Yeah. And so now you're socializing. You're drinking. You're
right
sipping.
in here, Barry.
I'm sorry. You're drinking. You're sipping. You're, conversations going on. And by drinking it, it hits you faster than when you eat it, number one. And it comes on as because you're not drinking it all down, right? You're just sipping on it.
Right.
So it's a really nice, mellow high. I mean, it's nice.
A cordial, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the hottest thing in cannabis right now.
Yeah.
It's and the drinks and the reason that I mean, listen, I guess the only way that you can build a business is to be able to sell beyond the state that you're making it in, right?
Right.
So you have to go down the hemp road.
Yes.
Can't go down the traditional THC road. You have to go down the hemp THC road so you can meet all of the laws and be able to sell across state lines, correct?
And that's a moving target. Because states started with one thing, now they're switching it, and some states have nothing. Pennsylvania's great; we have nothing to, block it from
no
coming
limits.
in. No,
that's
New
shocking.
Jersey does. I know.
It is
It's
shocking.
this is the weirdest state. Yeah. We have, but so it's still kind of, figuring it out. It's not a blanket thing on every state, but the trend is really good. And so, how do you know? Like, how would you really know if people are moving that way? So what I thought was, hey, why don't I go to a bridal show and say I'm going to do something called the Greener Bar, and that's what we do: hemp-infused mocktails.
At bridal showers.
Well, at a bridal show where people get, that's where they go.
Yeah.
When they get married, they go to a bridal show. These brides are walking in, looking at this booth, going, yeah. That's what I need. They weren't coming to look for this, but they're like, yeah, my friends, it was such a great response that's what kicked it off.
That's what started it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
that was your test to see
you have to have
interest?
Yeah, you have to have it. You have to test your concepts, man.
And it's still the beginning. Don't get me wrong. There was enough people went.
So when did this start? So tell us when did you start this, Barry?
Within the year.
Within the last year.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And your drinks focus around wine.
Well, we were lucky enough to get involved with a winery in Northern California that figured out how to make a good wine without alcohol. When you take the alcohol out, you take the flavor and the body of the wine. Mm-hmm. But these guys have been, I think, 30 years they've been making wine, so they figured out a method, and it's a sangria, and it's delicious. So that's one of our products that we have.
And it's been passed around here this evening.
And I must say, it was very tasty.
Yeah.
It was a very good sangria. I like it a lot.
And you know what? You can dress a sangria up, right? You're going to put fruit in it. You're going to mix it with a little seltzer or whatever and some ice. And really, you can do a lot with it.
Jazz it up. You can go straight. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good social drink.
So that's.
So how many SKUs do you have?
We're putting it together now. I would say 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've got, is it a line of sangria, or is there?
No,
it's different.
Sangria. There is no other wine that is hemp infused that has any flavor.
Right.
So, but they'll be out eventually. So we're moving into seltzers, juices. We have powder. I should have brought it. It's a little packet. It's 5 milligrams.
We saw that at the, last year at the show at Champs. We
What?
had a few samples of the powder.
The powder.
So we had Steve Corbett on with Weed Wine Magic on the show. I don't know, a week or two ago.
Last week, I believe.
Like a week ago. Yeah, it was pretty recent. And he talks about weed wine as a craft, an illegal craft that is very underground. You're not allowed to sell it anywhere. They do it out in California. But I'm assuming that's a different.
Remember, it has to be under 0.3.
So it's a different
Delta 9.
It's a different thing
by weight.
Right.
It's a different thing. That's an under.
Listen, I'm all for these hemp drinks because anything that gets people moving away from alcohol, which I consider poison, to something that's more of a medicine, and whether it's hemp-related THC or you know what I mean. To me, it doesn't matter because you're moving towards something that's away from that's dangerous to something that's far more healthy and far more.
I always say it's a better choice.
Good way to put it. Good way to put it.
People used to come in my vape shop and say, does this cause, with the cigarette, like that they just put out, does this, I heard this causes lung cancer or something, or the lung.
Black lung or.
Yeah. So
popcorn
lung, yeah.
So, popcorn lung. And I'm laughing. I'm like, wait a minute. You're smoking a cigarette, and you're asking me if this is going to do you in. But so people are just so ridiculous.
Whatever they're into,
But it's a better choice. And if my son's been vaping for 15 years, he's got no popcorn lung. In fact, I think his lungs are better.
Of course they are. You can't listen. Like what they tell you sometimes is the truth is exactly the opposite of.
Yeah.
So the sangria are there other drinks that you guys are developing now along the lines?
Well, most of it is we're distributing the line.
Gotcha.
And as far as coming up with, we will have mocktail. We're going to put together the mocktail. So that's the part
base
that doesn't have the hemp in it.
Gotcha.
But it tastes like a margarita.
Gotcha.
That's what we'll have. And then how you want to infuse it, there's a couple different ways,
Gotcha. So if people want to try your sangria right now, how can they?
They would just go to thegreenerinstitute.com /store.
Yep.
And they're in, and it's right at the top of the list. And so we sell it also with a mixer, which each glass is about 10 milligrams, 6 milliliter glass. So that's about 10 milligrams. So if someone's going to have 3 drinks, they're going to be pretty screwed up. The average person.
Well, let me while you're on that when you're on that note, a few of my friends that attended the event in Atlantic City with me didn't make it much past the end of the show. They were in bed and they were passed out for hours because they were enamored with your beverage, but didn't understand how much they could drink.
Right.
Or in this case, not drink.
When it comes to those ingestibles, you got to tread lightly.
Well, that's where the education really comes in. So when people want to eat it, I mean, no going back, right? No going back. Same with drinking it, but it comes on a little differently.
I mean, I guess you could puke it out if you wanted to, if you realized you went too far. But who realizes they went too far until it's too far?
Right. Exactly. It's too far. So,
the typical, I don't feel it yet.
Yeah.
Drink some more.
Right? Especially with drinking. That's why we came up with the mixer, which is
a guide.
Also has the same flavoring, but it mixes it or dilutes it in a way.
Right.
Brings the 10 milligrams a glass down to 3. So now you can drink 3 glasses and you're probably pretty good. But nobody's going to, why did I think of that? Because I know how my patients are, and I know how you dose them, and it's called,
There's nothing stopping anyone from having mixable. I'm assuming you can get hemp distillates, and it's the same thing as you can get for mixing and cooking.
Not really.
You can't?
No, because it falls outside of the 0.3 because it's too concentrated.
So how do you get it so it's not concentrated so you can open up a bar and literally mix fucking drinks?
Well, that's what we're working on now. That's exactly
I need to be a part of that, Barry.
Yeah, that's the greener bar is going to be something where people are going to they're going to find it, you know, and it's going to start out a certain way that it'll be exciting, and it's education, and people are going to realize that there's another way to ingest it, and I think it's safer for them. You know,
I like what your brand, the way everything is growing, starting with the Greener Institute with information, and now with products backed by information. That's a great blend. That's a good, to me as a consumer, makes me feel better knowing that hey, they're knowledgeable about the products.
Listen, I'm all medical. Like, that's all I do, right? So when it comes to recreational, I don't think the education matters. People, I'm not going to educate you on doing your...
but it's nothing you can't just go online and get anyway if you want.
But, so I'm very focused on the medical. And the funny thing is people that smoke all the time or ingest it have an issue. They're not going to tell you, but that's why they do it all the time.
Todd has it. Todd has an issue. However, I do not.
I was going to say that. I was going to say Phil doesn't. He does it for the fun of it.
He got the issue. This guy right here.
It's funny, but it's just.
Hey now.
Listen, I've helped a woman get off of opiates, and that I have to tell you, and with edibles, because you have to do an edible to have that much in your body, right? And it lasts a lot longer. Mm-hmm. But anyway, long story short, it took her 9 months to get off the opiates.
That's great.
Her husband calls me at the end and says, "Thank you, Barry. I have my wife back."
Yeah,
man, that's fantastic.
So, it's great that it feels great to help people, but the medical community has no clue.
Yeah.
Or I shouldn't say.
Well,
they know they don't want to do
listen,
it.
we used to do a show called MedCard 420 where we highlighted the journeys of patients. It was probably the most serious thing we did. And there were some episodes that would straight up make you cry because the significance of how it helped people with significant diseases, debilitating diseases, and it allows them to free themselves to live their life is absolutely, truly amazing.
It is.
It really is. And when you witness it firsthand, you truly get to see the power of the plant, right?
Yeah.
You get to see that this is truly medicine.
Well, I've been bitten
if you
by
watch,
the bug,
if you watch that story, you see these people respond, and you don't think it's medicine. There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you.
Yeah. And, autism, horrible disease for children especially. So a woman finds my name and says, "I tried every medicine. It's only making her worse. Can you help me?" So, listen, nothing's curing that, but this nonverbal hitting her head against the wall.
Well, it's quality of life.
Oh, my God, I don't know how this mother...
I don't think no one's saying that it fixes things. I think it prevents things. I think it has. I think it's quite preventive. I don't know if it fixes things, but it certainly improves the quality of life for those who have afflictions.
And so, long story short, just coming off some of those meds that she was on, the pharmaceuticals, was actually making her better, and the edibles was helping her.
Yeah, what a win!
Those.
What a win!
And she was better. That's all. So you see these things,
and you believe. You can. You have no choice but not to believe when you see it firsthand like that. You have no choice.
You
but
see
not
all those
to.
stories that documented the parents having to sneak around to go get the things they need. They should be able to get from a doctor or. You know what
I say.
To take care of their kids, so they got to run around do what they have to do.
Well, in the beginning, they used to fly to Colorado to get CBD.
That's right.
It's crazy.
Seizures. That was the whole
the seizure thing was big. Yeah. Outrageous.
Worried about the feds chasing them around while they're trying to medicate their kids.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Exactly.
So anyway,
but it's an exciting journey, and I'm, looking forward to actually seeing how this next.
Listen, we're super excited for you. We're glad that you came in and shared your story tonight on where you started, the Greener Institute, how you got there, and basically interesting to see how COVID went. It's interesting to see where we are today, and I think most importantly, it's interesting to see your pivots and how you're handling moving with the ebb and flow of what's happening in the marketplace.
Yeah, well, I always say there's no black and white in what I do. It's all gray. I live gray. So
there you go.
You get a thick skin,
Yep.
And that's what I do. So, but I know it helps people, and I know it should be a social part of what we do. So,
man,
looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm impressed with your story. I think you're super knowledgeable, and I'm glad you came in and shared this information with us. Do you have any other questions?
No, those retreats sound very intriguing.
Oh man, they're a lot of fun. And the woman that owned the house, a lot of people said no because I had to tell them what we were doing. This woman's like, "I'll let you take." It was Airbnb. I'll let you take the house if I can come to the.
There you go.
Yeah,
I
said, hallelujah. Wow.
You know what I find intriguing? I find intriguing that you're getting ready to go away and you're still trying to line up another one.
Hey, man, listen. Keep the flow going, baby.
Right? Why come back?
Yeah, man. Be back next year.
You've been to Thailand?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
This is the kind of guy who's got to worry. He got to be careful, right?
Thailand, I'm a little scared, though. The laws, all that,
It's a lot going on.
Let me get the Thai weed here. Well, I feel safer.
It's funny that you mentioned that because on the next show, we have a story about a student that went to Thailand that didn't make it out so great. So we're going to talk about that. Anyway, listen, before we run here, Barry, thank you, guys. If you want to get a hold of Barry, one more time, Barry, tell everybody how they should.
thegreenerinstitute.com/store. We also have a Facebook group, which is fb.com/groups/medical weed PA.
There you go. I'm not going to repeat that because it was long.
Too many words. That's too many words for Bill.
Too many words. It's too many words for you, too.
That's too many for you,
Too many for you, too, man. Get the hell out
We're going to abbreviate that for
you. For the next time. I think it's too late now, but I heard you have an AI.
Oh, you want?
And I have one as well.
You have an AI. Well, we'll do it. We'll do it when you listen. We're going to come back. We'll be back in 30 minutes, guys. I forgot to introduce Mary Jane. So and
Charlie is mine.
You have Charlie,
yeah,
and I have Mary Jane. All right. So are we going to let them talk to each other?
Well, I have a number that
we're going to do it.
Yeah,
we're going to do it. Yo, you guys, tune in. I just kicked the wire. Tune in on the next show. We're going to have Mary Jane talk to his AI.
Yeah.
We're going to have AIs talking to each other.
I want to be in that conversation.
I got to tell you what, Mary Jane is flat out rude sometimes, bro.
Mine can get a little testy, but she just gets her voice louder, like she's screaming at you.
Yeah.
And then, she'll just go back to normal. But that was did you have to train yours?
Yeah.
I think Phil brings that out in Mary Jane.
You think I caused
Mary
this?
Jane was very sweet until he started talking to her.
That's what happens.
Do you think that's what it is?
Yeah.
Well, I don't. Do we have a live audience tonight? Because there's people laughing and shit. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that I caused Mary Jane to do anything like that, to be honest with you. I really don't.
You hear that? His voice changed and everything.
Hold on, let me see if she's home. Hey, Mary Jane, I want you to meet Barry Greenberg. He's from the Greener Institute.
Hey, Barry, great to meet you. I've heard awesome things about the Greener Institute. Looking forward to our chat.
Well, I'm glad that you're around today to talk. What was your day like?
Barry. My day's been great, just getting ready for tonight's show. How about you? How's your day been?
It's really been great, especially being on the show.
That's awesome to hear. We're excited to have you on and dive into everything you're doing with the Greener Institute.
Well, thank you, Mary Jane. We'll bring you back on the next show, so we thank you for saying hello. So anyway, Barry, thank you for joining us. We'll be back in a half hour, guys. Join us back on the Late Show. We've got stories about Diddy. We got Pennsylvania legislation.
Yeah.
We got celebrities that look like they smoke weed, but they don't. I think they do. Well, we'll see.
Some people be lying.
Lying. Like Ted Cruz.
Oh, yeah, Ted Cruz. Ted the lie.
Lying
Is he
Ted.
smoking?
Ted be lying.
Yeah. We'll be back. We'll see you guys in a minute. We'll see you guys in a half hour. Peace.